Hey everybody, we're playing Arches. That was the exact moment I first thought I should turn my controller on. There we go. Remember controllers? The correct way to play a visual novel. Not moving at all and just kind of smacking A every now and then. We're here with Toaster Ringtail. He never goes by Ringtail.
They never do.
But Toaster from the other videos is here, and he's gonna go with me through Arches, because Stephanie's too busy, just in general. So I think it's taking long enough to get through Echo that it's gonna take even longer to ever get around to Arches. But Arches just came out yesterday for me. That's unhelpful information. It came out like a week ago by the time this comes out, probably, or something. So this is a sequel to Arches. A sequel to Echo, written by Howley. Nailed it. I did not have...
Good work.
I hate having to do an intro where I actually have context to explain or anything instead of just starting. Anyway, this is a sequel to Echo, but it's not really a sequel entirely. It takes place later in Echo, but with different main characters, and Echo itself is a game that has, depending on how you count, 5, 10, or more endings, none of which are canon necessarily. So it's not really a sequel. It's more Echo. It's Echo Revisited. It's Star Trek, another Star Trek. It just came out. The final build just came out on Patreon. And I was pre-warned by people in the Echo Discord that before I hit start, what I should actually do is I should click on these guys. So hopefully that was good advice, because I'm just putting a lot of trust in those people right now. Let's see. This might be Cameron's thoughts, so maybe this is you, actually.
Okay. They can't touch you. They can't hurt you. At least, not in the physical way. Mentally, it's a different story, which makes sense because all of this is mental. I was messed up way before the thing that I saw in my trailer, which might explain why I saw it. But it was me continuing to see it that traumatized me. I never knew when I was going home to an empty trailer or a trailer with a raincoat monster inside. Eventually, I was able to realize that it didn't really notice me, I guess. The first time, it definitely wanted to make its presence known to me. These days, it just kind of pops up every now and then, and it's really just a cardboard cutout of a spooky character from a horror movie. Yeah, it's still startling when it's at the foot of your bed at 2 a.m., but you learn to live with it. Soon, the cardboard raincoat monster with claws became a man who would walk around our kitchen. He was angry, cursing, throwing stuff around, but I was okay with all of it because he never noticed me. I couldn't say the same about the next thing, though. That was another flat-faced creature, but this one moved around on all fours with its elbows and legs at an angle, like a spider. Huh.
Always a spider.
Yeah. He would crawl onto my bed, over my face, and whisper things at me. That's when it really became hard, and things finally broke down after the first time I tried ketamine. Fuck, I didn't mean to break character there. That was just not what I expected at the end of that
where you thought the sentence was going?
Yeah, it was really hard, but things went really bad after I fell down a K-hole. Fuck. For most of my teenage years, I was a weed and opioid kind of guy. Those are two very drastically different classes of drugs.
Just some casual opioids. Take the edge off.
Not like heroin or anything, but pill every now and then to go with the weed so I could really chill.
Advanced chill.
My friend, well, he loved stuff that was a bit more intense. Stuff that really made you feel something or nothing at all, which is what he promised me before I took it.
slightly terrified of more intense because it already feels like he's mixing a lot for a teenager.
Yeah, this is like, that's like a pretty crazy thing to say that you did in your teenage years as like your light fare into drugs. You'll feel nothing but calm. And then, while I was sitting in my friend's living room, a bear broke through the window. He had on a ski mask, and he had a gun, and I screamed, and I ran, and I called 911. And of course, it wasn't real. I was so out of it, actually, that I thought I was watching someone else do all of that. I'm not friends with that guy anymore, but it was a turning point for me. I knew drugs made these hallucinations worse. I knew that the longer I stayed in one place, the more they appeared. And I knew they weren't real. I knew because why was there a creature with foot-long claws and a raincoat that stood at 10 feet tall? Well, I'm gonna bet such a thing never existed in that trailer. I'm gonna bet nothing like it ever existed at all.
That's an interesting setup.
Yeah.
We got someone,
kind of an intense
we got
way to
someone
start.
going into Echo who inherently is primed for the idea that they're hallucinating this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, well, I guess, I mean, at least he has a pretty strong, like, mooring, right? Like, he has a pretty okay grasp of the world if he's able to tell that these are hallucinations.
Yeah.
I created it, and it follows me. And I ignore it, even though it's starting to get weirdly insistent. October 2019.
2019. Remember pre-pandemic?
Oh, no.
You alright, babe? Dev
Do you want me to read this
somehow always has his shirt off. I think this is just the third-person narration at this point.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
A little eager, huh? No, it's you.
All right. I don't answer the question as I slide my shirt over my head, and immediately Dev's paws go to feeling out my sides. He's a little buzzed, so I don't think this is really going anywhere. We just wanted to get away from the party. We wandered around the little forest next to the house. Dev was looking for orbs or something. It started raining, so we ran to the car and decided to wait for Jason to come out so we could leave. Hopefully soon, because this thing, it stands outside the window. It's aware of us. I don't like that, even to this day.
Is there someone out there or something?
Dev looks behind us, right at the creature, and a chill runs down my back as he stares face to face with it. It's grinning at him with its sharp teeth and stooped over deeply because it's too tall. But as usual, Dev doesn't react. That's because he's normal.
Are you seeing things again, Cam? Just because you told me it stopped doesn't mean it might not come back.
You'd really like that, wouldn't you? Nope, things are ghost-free.
Well, whatever you think they are. Are you seeing things again?
I sigh deeply. I mean, it never goes away. It's just better sometimes compared to other times. Dev rubs his bare arm, his big chest heaving, then shuddering as I run my paws up his pecs, squeezing them.
I don't want to get you upset, but...
I close my eyes, waiting to be upset. I like that characterization. That's really good.
Yeah.
He already knows I don't like him treating me like I'm some psychic. I'm just a stupid kid that sees horrible, useless things.
But would you at least tell me if you see something that might be important to me?
I blink, thinking, then realize what, or rather who he's talking about. Oh, well, yeah, of course I would. It's just that I don't really see people. Just things, and not good things. Dev has gone a bit quiet as I rub down his stomach, playing with the fur and the thick layers that come naturally to bears, something that I like. I feel weird doing this while we're waiting for our friend. I mean, it's our car, but we're both 25 and acting like it just can't wait. Gotta do this before we go home. Usually Dev just like to be intimate like this, where he can just feel me, but he only grunts as I tentatively open up his fly. He doesn't stop me, so I keep going.
Well, you know, I was supposed to visit Echo today, but Larry had some problems, or whatever. So now we're at this shitty party, and it's gonna be months before I have a chance again.
I shrug, wanting to keep the conversation light. I've seen worse. Parties, I mean.
Next time, I'm not bringing in Larry. It's just gonna be me and whoever else wants to go.
I nod for him to go on. Dev sighs in a frustrated way that has his chest expanding against me again. He pulls my paws from his crotch and he holds me, just pressing our bodies together.
Obviously, I want you to go, but I don't want you to feel like some kind of tool or something I'm just using. I think it could be a good experience for all of us.
I mean, I just want to put it out there that, like, so, I mean, maybe we know a little bit more about Echo because we've, read Echo, but, like, the idea of him being like, yeah, maybe it would be cool for you, the psychic who sees evil ghost hallucinations, to go to Silent Hill. That might be good for all of us. I mean, I don't really know.
I'm imagining there's some version of like a news report about, like, there's got to be some kind of rumor about whatever happened in the Echo game.
Yeah.
That's just like, oh,
Yeah.
some people died and there was some kind of mass hysteria and no one really knows what happened. And
I mean, in some of the
reports.
Chase did his like documentary. So I don't know if it really got played or anything, but maybe they learned about it from that.
Maybe it goes on like ghost hunter websites, like it's the fucking Y2K video game or something.
We're
basically
like some
playing as
deep net arg.
Oh yeah, no, we're playing as Alex in this game basically.
Yeah. Oh god.
Not what they want. Not what they want. Let's be described.
No,
what's really
that's
unnerving.
bad. I guess we are wearing flannel, right?
Yeah, that's those two character traits. Ghost hunter, flannel. What's really unnerving about this entire scene is that all we can see at all is the window that something's supposedly outside of that we can't see.
Yep. Oh no, it's gonna jump scare us soon. So one of the
I don't
things I
even
wanted
know
to
about
point out right
that
away.
because I think Cameron sees it right now, right there, and we just don't see it at all.
I guess that's true. Yeah. I really like this animation though. Like the fact that it's animated is really cool.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Echo didn't really do that, as far as I know. It was actually pretty hard to get the limited animation they had in there. So it's
Yeah,
cool.
there's been some steps. Like I noticed that what is it? Glory Hounds has like mouth flapping and stuff. Like it has like a lot more animation to it. Like and more I'm seeing when I dig into the files of visual novels, they have like modular characters that are made of a bunch of pieces that can move individually. That's kind of a
so
trip.
cool.
But I don't think there's aside from a couple huge examples, I don't think there's really motion in Echo and Ad Astra ever.
Yeah. I mean, this is cool too because this is also just like one big CG, right? Like it's not characters in a background. We have this like cool silhouetted art and stuff like that. This is an immediate bump in visual fidelity. I like that. Good on them. Good on Howley and team.
It's very nice whenever a scene. Paintfox, yeah.
Paintfox. There we go. They're the artist.
It's very
cool.
nice whenever a scene in a visual novel is just drawn in its entirety in some form, even if it starts contradicting the text once things move around or whatever, just as a break from just staring at sprites the entire game.
Definitely. I mean, like with visual novels too, sometimes the sprites sort of just fade into the background. So you go into like this trance of just reading the text and pressing next and, you know, yada yada. So it's kind of cool to see like actual art accompaniment, or more CG heavy accompaniment, I should say. All right. I stare back at him. Didn't like 10 people die or something?
Well, I know what ending it wasn't. Well, not that, but how things will change if we see something.
And what does that mean?
That there's something more. There's somewhere to go after we die.
I think hard, trying to choose my words carefully. But how do we know that? Seeing something doesn't really mean anything. I've learned that over time.
Just...
Dev sighs, not really annoyed, just tired, probably having a hard time thinking straight on the alcohol.
I just need your help for a few days. I want to know. I need to know where she is.
Nowhere. She's dead, so she's nowhere. I'm sorry. I don't want to do this. It's such a bad idea, but this is important for Dev. It always has been. So now that he's finally asking me to go, I can only say... Of course. He grins and lets out a breath like he's relieved. I had no idea he was this tense about it, though I guess my reactions to previous comments about the town told him I wasn't exactly a fan of going. But I can stand a few days of discomfort if Dev finds his answer, which I really, really hope he does.
Thank you.
No problem, man. I try not to jump, because just as I said that, for the first time in my life, I see cardboard creature move.
Ruh-roh. That's an extremely ill omen. First time in your life. Doing exactly.
So that was all just the prologue. In my head, we had already started.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was. I was told to click on the characters in the middle of the screen before I started, and it didn't seem to give anything major away. So it's probably the right call. I don't know why. I'm not entirely sure what. I get it more in Echo when it's like extremely side stories, but I do wonder the motivation to have like a secret story beat hiding in the interface sometimes.
Secret menu. It is kind of cool that it exists.
Yeah. You can see animation.
It kind of makes
too,
it feel like you're interfacing with the game in a little bit more of a direct, like, I'm actually investigating something, or like, you know, makes you feel a little bit more involved as a player or whatever.
They're ghost hunters.
Ooh.
It's also like probably totally optional too, so it's just some characterization for a bit.
Yeah.
I am very curious. So neither of us know anything about this. We both have played Echo, and we've had long conversations about Echo, at least the parts that I've done so far. Toaster has to be very selective about which parts to talk about.
I think I've done a good job of not horrifically spoiling you on all the stuff I want to talk about.
Yeah, but Toaster's the one that chose the route order, so if any of you are mad at that, it's his fault. Get him. Get him by subscribing to all of his...
after me now.
If you're mad at him, like, comment, subscribe on his YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah, if you want to get mad at me, I stream every day from 5 to 8 p.m. at twitch.tv/toastedringtail. Yeah. Get in my chat and get mad at me about it. Give me the engagement.
Links to his things in the chat. Or in the description, but neither of us know anything really about arches, so we're still going in blank.
I know literally
we
nothing
both have
about
the same
this.
approach of waiting for things to finish. So I'm looking forward to this. It's another Howley story. Also, Echo is not canceled or on hiatus any more than it already was. It's just we're just stocking up episodes in the background, and TJ's route comes out when it's done. It's the same as before. I'm just also doing more novels now and branching out.
I think it should be fun. I mean, this will be a cool playthrough. I'm looking forward to it.
Run.
Ominous. Just very intense.
To the point. Oh, I love it when it's actually drawn stuff too.
I'm gonna guess this is me.
It's always,
but if it turned,
it's always very hard to tell you. I've both heard that it's third person, like it's not either of them, and I've also been told that it switches perspective between the two of them. I'm like, that's not helpful. That's contradictory. So I'm not sure how to approach the voices yet.
Well, I guess I can just continue reading until we get
some
sort of different.
Is the coyote's probably good at running, right?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, so maybe you can read this.
Maybe I'll just be wrong again. Running was something he was always good at. He was always the fastest in his class. I would be shocked if a bear was the fastest in their class. Some very interesting.
They can really chase you down.
Yeah, I guess if it's just a sprint. Just last year, he came in second at the 200-meter dash at the state track meet. Just 8 months ago, a coach from the University of Pueblo approached him about joining the track and field team after graduation.
That's the school Jenna and Chase go to.
Yeah. Just last month, he realized he was the fastest freshman on the team. Just last week, he started to hang out with older men who could get him to Pueblo's gay bars. Well, he's going through life fast now. Just 3 days ago, one of these men spiked his drink. Oh. Just 2 days ago, he woke up in restraints.
Surprise. It's not even going to be either of our characters.
No,
it's just
I don't think so.
Some red shirt. It's Micah. Surprise.
Oh, no, don't want Micah to be red shirt.
Just unceremoniously offed.
Just yesterday, he was being tortured. Just 10 minutes ago, he escaped. But now, he's realizing that it doesn't matter. Everywhere he looks is only burning desert. There's no one. His attempts to scream for help matter even less because his voice is broken. He can only barely wheeze after what the man did to him. And now his empty, droning sounds are being swallowed up by the desert. All the while, the heavy steps, scraping through gravel behind him, keep coming. The man isn't in a hurry at all. Running was something he was always good at. But now, when it matters most, he can't do it. The fastest freshman at D1 University is no faster than an old druggie. He definitely would have been if he'd eaten anything over the past 3 days. If his ribs weren't broken. If he could see straight. The man had given him something. He told him it was for the pain, but the pain is still there, and now he can't even stand. His balance is shot, and he keeps stumbling until he's just crawling on all fours. It's now that he realizes the man had let him get away on purpose.
Oh, that's fucked up.
This makes him realize something else. He's going to die. Tired from the drug, from the past 3 days of constant fear and torture, and from trying to run, he collapses. He lays there in the dirt, sobbing, even though tears don't come out. He's run out of those after all the things the man did to him. The chromatics are aberrating.
Yeah, oh no. We know we're
it's
full on Bloodborne mode now.
The light above is blinding. He wonders if this is God. His mother's a devout Catholic, even though he never believed. He promises this light that he'll become a believer right here and now if it saves him. The crunching gravel footsteps get closer. I need to go. His voice is still ragged and hoarse. The footsteps come even closer. I Have meat. There's a childish, high-pitched laugh, so it's Brian.
Yeah, I was gonna say we know who that belongs to.
Yeah, high-pitched.
Tennessee Williams sounded motherfucker. Jeez.
Throat damage. Days of torture, yeah.
He's still up to this? Ugh.
God, what is Brian gonna sound like? Some kind of high-pitched voice?
I hear him as Tennessee Williams in my head as a old Southern gay playwright.
Yeah, I don't know what Tennessee Williams sounds like. Let's see. We were always wrong. See, we never had a high-pitched voice for him in Echo, really.
I mean, maybe this is a weird point of comparison, but I guess if people don't know who Tennessee Williams is, I guess the creepy old pedophile on Family Guy is like the other good touch point for what he sounds like.
When he's like, "Think I must have hit you one too many times."
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. That's like pretty much right there.
All you do is talk about your fucking track bullshit now.
The huge form moves closer.
You know that shit don't matter no more, right?
His chest aches with overwhelming sadness and despair. And it's not just because he's about to die. It's because his mom won't know what happened to him. It's because the last text message he saw from her said, "Love you, bug," with 10 heart and kissing emojis. And at the time, he just rolled his eyes and didn't respond. He thought he'd be able to do it the next day, or the day after that. After he'd been kidnapped, the man took his phone and sat on the counter. It sat there and buzzed over and over with messages, and his kidnapper only laughed when he asked to at least read them. Now the tears flow just as the man leans over him with something heavy in his paw. He hopes his mom is right about God. He hopes he can see her from the other side, just so he can respond somehow. But there's nothing. Cameron holds on to the seat tightly, the coyote's teeth rattling together with every pothole they hit.
What a shift. That's a really desperate opening, but dang.
Just a hard cut to unsuspecting people coming into the town where people have died.
And I guess it's better than it like record scratching. I guess you're wondering how I got into this situation.
It sets the stage for a standalone story that catches people up in a way that we'd be primed for already from reading Echo. It's like, no, don't go to Echo. There's so many reasons not to go to Echo.
Even before we get into the Silent Hill aspects of this town, just Brian is gross and weird, and maybe stay away.
Brian's bad enough already, yes. Like, he's such a horrible person and character that it's enough that this town doesn't need to be supernatural for you to not want to go here. But
yeah,
what we know about the town is also really bad.
Yeah. Oh man.
His boyfriend, Devin, doesn't seem bothered at all. The bear's paw on the wheel with an elbow hanging out the window. He'd been singing loudly to the music playing through the car's Bluetooth speakers, but it wasn't until the cell phone service was lost that Devin finally seemed to notice Cameron's unease. You alright, babe?
I think you could go a little slower.
What? Cameron raises his voice, yelling over the rattling interior.
Go slower!
Why? This is the kind of terrain this baby was built for.
Okay, but...
Cameron's voice bounces as they hit another deep groove in the destroyed road.
We don't know what's around any of these bends. What if it just drops off and we go down a ravine or something?
That's what the roll bars are for, honey.
And I'm pretty sure I'm about to chip a tooth.
Ah, come on. You gotta admit there's something nice about feeling the road. No.
Yeah.
Cameron doesn't respond and goes on clutching his seat. Devin does slow down a bit, though, more carefully maneuvering around the most broken up parts of the road.
What happened to the road anyway? It's only been, what, 5 years?
Flash floods, according to what I read online. Obviously, there's no one around for upkeep, so this is what happens.
Oh, yeah. I forgot how this state works. Dry as hell until a wall of watery death comes down the road during monsoon season.
The coyote tenses up as the bear makes another smooth but still sudden turn.
And it's even hotter than I remember.
How are you a coyote, Cameron? This is your climate.
You know better than to say that. Just because I'm built for it doesn't mean I have to like it.
Yeah, but you hate it at Fort Allen, too.
It doesn't get ungodly hot there, though. I can at least deal with it.
Well, the transfer to Bonneville City is looking good, so you won't have to deal with it much longer. Or is it Bonneville? Cameron shrugs.
Milder weather would be nice, I guess.
Devin grins. Nicer weather, nicer scenery, and nicer people.
Everyone's a Mormon.
Utah. No. Which is why they're nice. I have not heard good things from Stephanie about Utah. Or Mormons.
The ones living down here aren't.
There's a big difference between the fundamentalist and the...
Normal ones? The ones that baptize dead people and wear Jesus jammies under their clothes? Wow, he's really going for the throat there.
Yeah. Dev shrugs. Most religions are weird when you break them down like that. Based, yes, correct. Nailed it.
I'm just saying, whether it's magic garments or prairie dresses, they came from the same fucked up place.
Devin doesn't say anything, and Cameron realizes how bitchy he sounds right now.
Sorry, I just worry about how they might look at us. It's harder to gauge people when they're all fake nice.
Yeah, that's true, but look. Devin nods his head towards Cameron's window, and the coyote follows his gaze. The rocky, uneven landscape has opened up to a wide expanse of blue. That's Lake Emma, which means Echo is... The bear looks ahead, and the first thing Cameron sees is a tall, rusty sign with letters on top of it that he can't quite read from this distance. It's not a good sign for a four-letter word.
No.
Below it is a small, shabby building, and beyond it, a few smaller, even shabbier buildings. Cameron wasn't sure what he'd feel like when he first saw the town. If the coyote really is what Devin thinks he is, then right now he'd feel all the awful, evil things that supposedly happened here. Those small, run-down buildings should be exuding the memories of their past, which should then be projected into his mind. But Cameron feels... nothing. Of course, he kind of knew this would be the case, but he'd never been to a place that was famously haunted. Not like Echo, anyway. So he worried just a little bit. Dev asked him in the past to go on his amateur paranormal investigations. Well, because the coyote could see things. Yeah,
Come with me and go ghost hunting with me. Don't worry. I'm not a professional. I'm an amateur.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making this up on a whim because I would just like to just test your powers. Devin is Chloe.
Oh, yeah, completely. If the Life is Strange comparison continues, Devin's like, you've got superpowers. And Cameron's like, yeah, I don't know if we can really quite call it that.
Bodes poorly for the final choice of this game.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
He'd reminded Dev the proper word was hallucinate. The things he saw were manifested by his own mind. There was no reason for him to give it fuel by going someplace supposedly haunted. Dev got the message pretty quickly and stopped asking. They still talked about all those interests he had, though, and Cameron realized that there was a lot more to Devon's interest in ghosts than just dumb fun. And even though he'd refused to entertain Devon's psychic bullshit, the bear still took care of him. He'd done so much for the coyote that Cameron was embarrassed to think about it sometimes. So when Dev got his chance to go to the place he'd wanted to go the most, Cameron decided he had to go as well. He's doing this for Dev, to show his appreciation for everything that Dev had done for him. Still, Devon had been trying to make this seem more like a vacation of sorts, like Cameron wouldn't be doing any investigations at all. Somebody planning a trip to Echo for ulterior motives that will strain their relationship?
It's interesting here though, because it's setting up that, like, oh, Devon and Cameron have this relationship where Devon is like taking care of Cameron. But then again, we don't really know much about them yet. Their prologue just had them banging in a car after a bad party. Like, this is kind of intriguing. It makes me wonder, like, just what Devon actually, quote unquote, like, does for Cameron, right? Like, are they in an actual relationship that is of like equal parties, or is this some sort of strange intertwined?
Is it like Kudzu and Chase?
Yeah.
Like, when Chase is going through PTSD episodes and everything.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I wonder about taken care of, or if it just means like, I live there.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, I wonder, maybe they're actually roommates and maybe, yeah, friends with benefits plus.
He would need to talk to the bear and let him know that he was willing to do this for real, at least within reason. He also needed to tell him why he didn't like doing this, and that part might be hard.
Doesn't look so bad for a ghost town, I mean.
Looks can be deceiving. Hang on, gotta pull over for a sec.
Why?
Wanna scout out the lake a bit before dark. I also gotta take a massive leak. I think they were on like a ledge checking out the lake when Chase and Kudzu drove by.
Yeah.
In the Leo ending and saw a coyote and a bear. Cameron tries not to sigh.
Feel brotherhood with him as he watched a big bear pee off the side of a cliff?
Always with the fucking peeing in Echo. It's always leaks. Like, it's one of the most common, like, quote unquote rules, like unwritten rules of fiction, is just that people just magically never use restrooms in stories, basically. But not in Echo. You're gonna hear about every bathroom break.
People love to pee outside in Echo.
Every bathroom break, every spider. At this point, I'm like relatively certain that Howley has sleep paralysis because it's just the number of hallucinating characters.
Howley has sleep paralysis, a small bladder, and trauma issues.
It was very useful that, like, right before I started playing Echo, you were able to, like, give me an incredibly detailed breakdown of sleep paralysis and the hallucinations, and, like, because you have the exact same sleeping disorder that Chase has, basically.
I do. Yeah, I get sleep paralysis every single time I sleep. I've learned to live with it, and it is not really a scary experience for me anymore. And most of the time, it's just like an awkward phase in between being awake and being asleep, where I like can't move, and like I don't really hallucinate or anything. I sleep with a sleep mask, so I can't really see anything anyway. But yeah, I get sleep paralysis pretty much every time I sleep, regardless if it's just a nap or if it's like long term, like going to bed for the night.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that, like, when you have it in broad daylight in a well-lit room or something, it makes it way more obvious how little the hallucination is anything, because it's just like a weird distortion in a brightly lit room, and so it's like like the darkness doing all the work in your imagination.
Yeah, maybe this is something people would find interesting, I guess, but to sort of explain it, like, when it's really dark in like your room or whatever and you have sleep paralysis, you know, a lot of people say they like see people walking around in the darkness or they see like undefined fuzzy shapes. But in a well lit room, sleep paralysis kind of looks like when you have like floaters in your eye, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Except it's just kind of all over. So if you're looking at like a blank, you know, like white wall or whatever, like if I fell asleep on my couch and like my TV was in front of me and there was like the wall behind it, everything just looks kind of like I turned up the sharpness on like in like Photoshop, like put a sharp filter over everything. So you can see edges on stuff and it's a little bit fuzzy and wiggling. So if you extrapolate that to darkness, you're seeing, you know, your eye is trying to draw sharp kind of edges and wiggling and constant like a noise filter over everything. So you kind of hallucinate that way. And for some people, they have it a lot worse than that. Some people get full on hypnagogic hallucinations, I think they're called. But for me, once I realized what my brain was doing and what I was seeing, it stopped being scary and just became uncomfortable. And that's sort of the thing that people don't talk about with sleep paralysis, is that sleep paralysis is just a very uncomfortable experience, physically speaking, because like it feels like you can't move and it's really weird to be in your body and not be able to move when you try to. And like breathing is really hard and kind of weird feeling. But yeah, the visuals are not that scary when you're in like a well-lit environment that you're like familiar with.
Just gets a little Junji Ito Instagram filter over the world for a bit.
Yes, exactly.